and things are ramping up in the Middle East. U.S. and Iran signal they will return to Pakistan for talks, officials say. Two regional officers tell the AP that the U.S. and Iran are signaling to hold new rounds of ceasefire talks in Islamabad as a fragile 2-week truce was due to expire. Pakistan-led mediators who spoke on the condition of anonymity received confirmation that the top negotiators will arrive in Islamabad early Wednesday, so that'd be tomorrow. I'm at school, but guess what I did this morning? I'm assuming shower. Since you always like to share when you shower. Iran says it has not made a decision to attend talks with the U.S. and Pakistan. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghahi told the Iranian state TV, U.S. moves against 2 Iranian vessels amounted to piracy at sea and state terrorism. Yeah, the U.S. shot at 2 ships in the Middle East for no reason.
Ship 115. You are entering the area of a military blockade. This blockade of Iranian ports will be enforced and applies to all vessels regardless of flag. Any vessel
Hey, your voice is gorgeous. Thank you.
or exit an Iranian port will be subject to the right of visit and search in accordance with international law. If you attempt to run the blockade, we will compel compliance with force. Over.
Yeah, it is. It's a clusterfuck right now over there.
Meanwhile, some serious news. Vice President J.D. Vance is reportedly set to hit Pakistan today for new rounds of peace talks with Iran.
President Trump says if there's no deal, he's unlikely to extend the ceasefire, which expires tomorrow.
All right, Matt Finn is live in Islamabad ahead of those high-stake negotiations. Matt.
Ryan, the U.S.
What's going on, Matt?
The Vice President has not publicly confirmed its anticipated travel here to Pakistan. This is really an hour-by-hour situation. The United States seems to be all systems go, but state media associated with the Iranian regime has been reporting that Iran has not confirmed that it's sending a delegation here to Islamabad. Now, Iran's reluctance to publicly confirm the second round of peace talks may be Iran posturing or doing PR. So far, the U.S. has seemingly not pulled the plug. Iranian state media claims one sticking point is the U.S. blockade. State media has said as long as that blockade remains on the Strait of Hormuz, Iran may not negotiate. But the president has said the blockade will remain in place on the strait, and the president is also warning about the future of the 2-week ceasefire, which was broken anyway and is set to expire tomorrow. Now, we did an interview with the head of the European Ship Owners Association, which says it represents about 1/3 of the world's ships. Right now, the Strait of Hormuz remains closed, and Iran is asking to inspect ships carrying billions of dollars in cargo and is demanding fees.
It is unacceptable that that the lives of seafarers and the safety of the seafarers are put at risk. Seafarers that are just doing their job.
Thank you, United States of America, for this. Thank you, Donald Trump, for this.
Especially international straits such as the Strait of Hormuz, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea must apply. In particular, the principle of free transit passage.
What's up, Calico?
And one of the latest updates from the president of Iran's republic, he says that Iranians do not submit to force, referring to the United States. We will keep you updated on these critical second round.
I don't think these are going to go well.
Time is running out. Day, where the president in individual calls with reporters and on Truth Social.
I did want to listen
touted
to
the
these
military
after. Hold on. Let me pause these so they don't play in the background. I don't know. I don't think these talks are going to work out well
Those
at all.
talks expected to take place. Matt, how is the city preparing for another historic moment?
I think the U.S. would show up. I honestly have no idea if Iran's going to show up. It'd be really dumb for them not to, but they don't really have to.
On the ground earlier today, I saw a police blockade where armed officers were screening every car that was passing through. There's a red zone that's been created to form a perimeter around the area where the high-stakes talks are expected. We've also been told some hotels have been cleared to make room for VIPs. And one of the Pakistani papers here, the Dawn, has an article today that says Islamabad has increased its security compared to when Vice President Vance visited the first time, because Pakistan is really hoping that President Trump might come to this country, which the president has said he might. And the U.S. delegation.
Wow, if Trump goes to Iran or Pakistan, wow.
Led by the vice president, has not publicly confirmed their anticipated travel here to Pakistan. It's really an hour-by-hour situation.
Yeah, everyone's saying that they're not going to talks, but everyone's going to be there. I just don't know if Iran's actually going to show up.
The AP is now reporting that Iran is willing to send a delegation here, but that's not confirmed yet either. Now, Iranian state media has been reporting one sticking point is the U.S. blockade. State media has said as long as that blockade remains on the Strait of Hormuz, Iran may not negotiate. So far, the president has said the blockade will remain in place on the strait, and the president is also warning about the future of the 2-week ceasefire, which the president says Iran broke anyway and is set to expire tomorrow. The Strait of Hormuz effectively remains closed.
Israel broke first.
Fees and asking to inspect ships, some carrying billions of dollars in cargo. We talked with the head of the European Ship Owners Association, which represents about 1/3 of the world's ships. That association says the world should not tolerate what Iran is doing.
They shouldn't tolerate what the fucking U.S. is doing. Are we serious? This is complete fucking bullshit. No final decision on whether to attend ceasefire talks. Of course, the European Naval Association, or whatever the fuck it's called, is like, oh, it's not the Americans' fault. Mixed messages from the Americans. It is not out of indecisiveness. It's because we are facing contradictory messages and behaviors and unacceptable actions from the American counterpart. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Let me see. First tweet. I pull up Twitter. First tweet I see is Fortnite headliner Doja Cat says she prefers Overwatch to Marvel Rivals. Thank you. Where is situation? That's the Pope. Plans raise possibly more. I'm not seeing anything new on Twitter for Iran that we haven't already seen, but Trump keeps obviously going back and forth whether or not we're actually going to keep our ceasefire, or not our ceasefire, our shit there, our blockade. It just doesn't make sense why we blockaded it, and then we stopped, and then Iran stopped, and then Iran went back in, and then we go back in, and it's just like the dumbest people running these countries. Hezbollah fired rockets at troops in southern Lebanon, Israeli military says. And I doubt this. Well, Hezbollah is funded by Israel anyways, so. 2-week ceasefire. Trump said they expected to reach a great deal to end the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran, but he did not want to extend the ceasefire, and the U.S. military was raring to go if negotiations were not successful. Forces aborted a tanker under sanctions for trading with Iran. Tiffany, there was no immediate Iranian response to the boarding, but appeared likely to complicate efforts to persuade Iran to attend the talks. There's only really... What's up, Vi? There's only really two ways to go about this. Either the talks go well, or we have a full-blown ground invasion of Iran, which would be really funny. And literally nobody in the media, like even Fox News, has no idea what the fuck is going on. Because Trump says extension of Iran ceasefire is highly unlikely, but then saying highly likely, and now... let me see if anything else has come out. U.S. forces board a sanction in the ocean. Iran's leadership survived U.S.-Israeli bombardment, but talks to end the war present a new challenge. Yeah, dude, we are beyond cooked when it comes to, who's Trump? The President of the United States? Are you even a real person? I don't think you're a real person. Are you AI? Who's Trump? I think, I don't want to say it to be funny, because obviously there'd be a lot of death, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I didn't think ground invasion was this close until right now. Isn't the President of the United States Obama? Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's the shadow president. Yeah. Sorry, just got shown to TikTok. No, we'll go to this after.
So far, and the prospect of an agreement.
Are you calling him a shadow because he's black? No.
But
that would be really funny though if I was that
no
smart.
Pressure to make a deal.
And racist, but I'm not either. So, well, I'm smart, but I'm not racist.
Is not an adversary for him, despite the rising gas prices caused by the Strait's closure becoming a political headache for his party. And Democrats on Capitol Hill are recognizing this moment. Take a listen to Washington Congressman Adam Smith, the ranking member.
Adam Smith isn't going to say
the House
anything.
Armed Services Committee.
Anything
Talk about the
smart.
mixed messaging from the president yesterday on Capitol Hill.
Trump doesn't know how to get out of this war that he started, and the costs keep going up. I'm also concerned a little bit that he keeps saying things that aren't true.
Why are you just watching politics on stream? Why are you doing public doom scrolling? Because I have an education in political science.
War is over, and Iran has agreed to all of our demands, and we all know that's not true.
Now, Vice President J.D. Vance, as of now, is still expected to leave for Islamabad sometime today. And
we'll just have to wait and see if he actually leaves for Islamabad. I don't know if Iran's going to show up. And even if they do, I think Trump really wants a ground invasion. Trump wants his own Iraq war because, yeah, it does bad things for your success as a president, but you're fucking... Oh! Education and political science doesn't make it less doom scrolly. I mean, yeah.
Join us now on the Squawk News line. President Donald J. Trump. President Trump, welcome. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you very much, Joe.
You are very welcome. Can you give us,
I forgot Trump goes on fucking New York Post.
I think it's on everyone's mind. The latest on where the Iran negotiations stand. We now know Tehran has publicly confirmed that it will send representatives to the meeting with Vice President Vance. What do you expect?
Yeah, but then 15 minutes ago, they said that they're not sure about it.
Beck, what are you hearing at this point, sir?
Well, as I said 2 days ago when they said they won't send them, I said they'll be sending them. They have no choice but to send them. What I think is that we're going to end up with a great deal. I think they have no choice. We've taken out their Navy. We've taken out their Air Force. We've taken out their leaders, frankly.
I already know everything that's going to happen this year. Then tell me what I'm getting for Christmas.
Which does complicate things in one way, but these leaders are much more rational. It is regime change, no matter what you want to call it.
Oh my God, dude. I love that we're going back to regime change.
Which is not something I said I was going to do, but I've done it. Indirectly, maybe, but I've done it. And
Bicycle?
we're in a very strong
Ooh,
negotiating
maybe.
position to do what other presidents should have done during a 47-year period. We have 47 years where these bloodthirsty people have been killing a lot of soldiers, a lot of our soldiers, and a lot of other people. They've killed 42,000 people over the last 2 months. And, you get to a point where people don't want to mention that. They don't like mentioning that. 42,000 unarmed protesters, innocent unarmed protesters, many of them hung. So we're not dealing with the nicest group of people, but we're dealing with them very successfully, and the blockade has been a tremendous success. They said 2 days ago, we will open the strait. I said, no, we're not going to open the strait until we have a final deal. No, we want to open the strait.
And then Trump did open the strait, and Iran opened the strait, and then it got closed again.
We're not opening. We totally control the strait, just so you understand, for all the fake news out there.
Man, he really likes putting fake news.
And, Mr. President, we've seen 100 days of the largest protests in Iran since the revolution in 1979. And I know how much you respect and admire and are concerned with the Iranian people themselves. And this is, I think, in large degree, one of the reasons you decided to embark on this whole thing, maybe among other things, but the timing was right. If we get close in negotiations right now, but the deadline for the ceasefire is tomorrow, if it looks like things are progressing, will you not necessarily extend it to a definitive amount of time, but will you let it keep going if there's progress in the talks before taking...
Well, I don't want to do that. We don't have that much time because by the time both parties get there, they just got the okay to go forward, which I knew they were going to do anyway. I mean, I don't think they had a choice. They have to negotiate. And, the one thing I'll say is this. Iran can get themselves on a very good footing if they make a deal. They can make themselves into a strong nation again.
I think that's why Trump keeps on going back and forth rather than just, dropping it, because he wants to be seen as the deal maker. Obviously, that's his big thing, but holy shit, man, is this a fucking clusterfuck? The Trump admin has no idea what they're doing with Iran. That's why they keep going back and forth, because they keep on going actually at the whim of Trump.
Wonderful.
I don't know if the shadow presidents are actually, his handlers are having any control over this.
Incredible people. But they seem to be, bloodthirsty. They're led by...
They're credible people. We can talk to them, but they're also bloodthirsty.
Very, very, unfortunately, tough people. And I don't mean tough in a good way. I think it's very negative for the country because we're much tougher than they are. Not even close. But
not even
close. They have to use common sense, and they can get themselves into a great position to make themselves into a great country, but a legitimate country, not a country based on death and horror.
And I think regimes only respond to certain things, and I understand your threats to bomb the bridges in the electric grid, but I don't think the regime cares about the people of Iran.
So we're just not calling... Okay, wow, we just don't even call them war crimes anymore. Good job, Newsmax.
You did that. I'm sure it's the last thing you'd probably want to do, but it would hurt at least some of the people that we care about and why we embarked on this in the first place. So that would be, I'm sure, a last resort for you.
It's not my choice, but it will also hurt them. It'll hurt them militarily. They use the bridges for their weapons, for their missile movements. They're trying to move the missiles because we've obliterated most of their missiles, and they're trying to move their missiles around, even during the ceasefire, which I think was a good thing.
I don't think Trump knows actually how many missiles. I think Trump thought that Iran had maybe 3 missiles, and after we blew them up or they used them, Trump figured that they'd be out, and they're not. Iran is a real country that has a lot of money, and even if they used up all their missiles in day one, they're just going to make more. They have the ability to make missiles at home. They're not going to run out of missiles anytime soon. Maybe in a year if they kept on going to war, but it wouldn't be anytime soon. And by that point, they'd be getting support from other Islamic extremist groups in the area. There's no reason to expect that Iran would run out of resources anytime soon. Even if they're economically fucked. Like, the people of Iran, yeah, they're upset with the Iranian regime.
We're totally loaded up.
But they do not like the U.S. and Israel anywhere close to as much as they like Iran. They like Iran's regime a lot more than Trump.
ammo. We have so much of everything that we've much more powerful than it was 4 or 5 weeks ago. So we've used this to restock.
It's not a war of attrition in the typical sense. It's a war of attrition, and like Iran just has to wait out for like basically midterms. Do I want them to? No, but a war power. If midterms keep on, because like look at Virginia, man. Virginia's even flipping blue. If midterms in Texas is looking to flip blue, if midterms keep going this positively and Iran just holds out. Not that I have any sympathy for the Iranian regime. Don't ever get that twisted, and don't ever, like, that's never what I'm saying, but if they just hold out until midterms, a War Powers Act would happen. And then Trump wouldn't be able to go to war with Iran. At least in the way that he's doing now. And he would probably get impeached multiple times. Things aren't looking good. That's why Trump wants to end it. That's why he doesn't want a ceasefire. I don't think Trump wants a ceasefire, but I think his handlers know that we need a ceasefire. Like a permanent end to this.
And they probably have done a little bit of restocking. We caught a ship yesterday that had some things on it which wasn't very nice. A gift from China, perhaps. I don't know. But I'm a little surprised. But because I have a very good relationship, and I thought I had an understanding with President Xi, but that's all right. That's the way war goes, right? But I will tell you.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This admin can't give a clear fucking signal on anything, and that's why shit is going so fucking poorly.